single change I'm seeing, because typically there's been a group of 9 daughters out, and I don't see it anymore. And they've been camping out there for a really long time, so. Yeah.
I don't go there. Friends have told me.
Yeah, she's really doing an exceptional job and keeping us informed. Yeah. I mean, she's obviously called for that. Yeah, she's definitely been a real blessing for us. It's kind of nice having Carol Lee on the school board, because she can bring to us what's going on. And well, and then we have Councilmember Ramirez, who's in the healthcare field, which is a great, another great asset for our community to, have a lot of that service for our citizens.
Well, and that sounded like that was your focus.
And I think it's necessary, because we have, a lot of people needing, kind of like they've got flying doctors coming next month. Yeah, in March 8th and 9th.
People say that there's nothing.
Uh-huh. Good evening, everyone. We're just waiting for some issues in the back where we can stream live, so bear with us. You guys warm? All right? Okay. It's cold outside. Everyone ready for the rain? Yeah? And the wind? All right. We are up and ready? All right, here we go. We're going to start this off. Call this meeting to order. The Pledge of Allegiance. With Councilmember Lombardo, would you lead us in the pledge since you're here?
I would be very pleased to. Place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you wish to remain standing, invocation by Miss Leanne Clark.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity for another city council meeting to address all of the important issues with our city, with our citizens. And we thank you, Father, for the partnership between our city council and the public. We thank you for a productive meeting. We had the last city council meeting, and we're thanking you for another productive meeting tonight. And we thank you for this council with every, just what they each bring to the table, and also what the public brings to the table. And so again, we thank you for a peaceful and productive meeting tonight, and we thank you for a beautiful month, the month of love, as we honor this time of year to remember each other and care for each other. And we give you the glory and honor in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Ramirez.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz.
Here.
Mayor Bildering.
Here.
All present.
No closed session announcements, changes to agenda. Just we added that presentation, correct? Number 2 from the original. That's the only change? Just that add? Yeah. All right. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on our website and clicking on Meeting Agendas link. Awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. Number 1, presentation by San Bernardino County DA's office on Proposition 36.
That's going fast. All right, well, thank you very much for having me.
A lot of questions now.
Yeah. All right, want to try? Okay, do we want to, can you just simply start it, or?
I hope our city manager's update just as quick though. All right.
All right. Well, my name is Douglas Poston. I'm the supervising deputy district attorney for the Morongo Basin. So first of all and foremost, thank you very much for having me here today. I'm here to talk about some exciting changes in the law, and you'll get a little bit of a preview of what I've actually trained the sheriff deputies on here at our local station. So this is kind of what the PowerPoint looks like. Poston's Pointers, Prop 36 edition. That's what I'm here to talk about, is Proposition 36 and some very exciting changes to California law. First of all, get to know us just a little bit, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about myself. I really don't like to do that, but if you would like to have a conversation offline, I'll tell you how long I've been doing this and what I've been doing and all that. But I am a supervising DA, and I have been one since 1996 when I joined the district attorney's office. Then I was promoted in 2019 and came out here to the Morongo Basin, actually at my request. I wanted to have this assignment, and very happy I'm here. We have 5 deputy district attorneys in Morongo, and I'll just put their names up real quick here. Jason, Heather, Lindsay, Joe, and Tom No is our last DA here. We also have some support staff. We have 3 clerical, 1 investigator, 1 tech, and 1 victim advocate. Some basics about the law before we get started, because this will make a lot more sense if I explain this up front. First of all, a felony in the state of California is our higher level of criminal offense, and it is punishable by 366 days or more. Oh, sure. Sure, absolutely. I want to make sure we're catching everything. Okay, terrific. As I mentioned, a felony is punishable by 366 days or more and generally punishable in state prison. A misdemeanor offense is a lower level offense and punishable by up to 1 year, but in county jail only. So that's the biggest difference in those two. Petty theft is a theft of just about anything with the up to the amount of $950, and there's an exception in the penal code for various products that are associated with California directly, such as citrus and nuts and things like that. If the theft is greater than $250 worth of those products, it becomes a grand theft. A grand theft is any theft that is $950 or a penny, and a penny or more of pretty much anything in the state of California. Proposition 36, it was the only proposition on the November ballot to pass in every county in California, all 58. And it passed by a pretty strong margin of 68 to 31.6%, as you can see there. We created some new law, we changed some old law, and it was mostly for the better. It took effect on December 18 at midnight, and I started training the sheriff deputies right around that time, not midnight, but right around December, to kind of explain to them how this is going to work and how it's going to look. And what I'm trying to do is get out like this. So again, I appreciate the opportunity, because I really want folks to know what this means and how this is going to really, frankly, support your mission statement on enhancing the quality of life in our Morongo Basin communities. So theft laws, and these are just some overviews, and I'll get down into the details of them in just a moment. New penal code sections that allow us to aggregate or add up petty thefts when there are multiple petty thefts from one particular actor, even if it's different stores, to aggregate and add those up to reach a grand theft. So in other words, we no longer have just individual petty thefts, we can add them up. We now allow suspects with 2 or more prior petty thefts to be charged with a felony if they steal again. And we allow suspects that have worked as a team of 3 or more who engage in the crime of either vandalism or theft or attempted theft, we actually can charge them with an enhancement and send them to state prison for much longer than we could before. And this is sort of the smash and grab situations that we've all seen on television. Drug law changes. New health and safety code sections that add fentanyl to existing laws, something that we've all been waiting for. Requires a number of the more serious drug sentences to be served in state prison. And it really seriously enhances 28.5 grams or more of possession of fentanyl-containing substances, anywhere from 3 all the way up to 25 years. So the penalties for fentanyl-related crimes are a lot greater. It also allows us, and this is one of the more important ones, allows us to charge a person who has 2 or more drug possession priors and picks up a new one. We can actually charge them with a felony now. And there's also a great bodily injury enhancement that we can add onto drug dealers who provide drugs to people that then, overdose or have some sort of, bad reaction where they go comatose or have physical harm as a result. So let me get right into the petty theft law. Penal Code Section 490.3. In any case involving shoplifting, so what we used to see as petty theft, or somebody goes into a store to steal something minor, and then they go to another store and another store and another store. Well, once upon a time, we weren't able to add all those up to get a single count of grand theft. Now we can. This statute allows us to do that, not only in county, our own jurisdiction, throughout San Bernardino County, but in other counties as well, provided certain other requirements are met. We can add those up. For instance, if somebody steals in Desert Hot Springs, brings that petty theft merchandise here, steals a couple more times, where they add up to over $950, we can charge them with grand theft right here. So here's an example. John and Jane go to the Morongo Dollar Tree, take $300 worth of shampoo. Day 2, $400 worth of Pampers from 29 Palms Dollar General. Day 3, $300 worth of power tools from Home Depot. Old law, petty theft, 3 of them, 3 misdemeanors. And frankly, we couldn't do a whole heck of a lot with those, and neither would the court. But now, modernly, new and improved law, we add up those amounts. We get over to over $1,000 in property taken. Now we can charge them with felony grand theft. All right, so this is really, really important. I would very strongly ask you and urge you, not only your constituents, but for members of the community here who have businesses, what can you do to help us make this charge? First and foremost, report it. The days are gone where it didn't matter if somebody stole from you, because really that's kind of what we were left with between 2014 and now 2024. Petty thefts weren't taken that seriously, and the thieves knew it. They would go in and they would steal, and some of them would even take in calculators, so they made sure they were under 900, I'm not kidding you, under $900, so that then they could, avoid a felony conviction. Well, now we have that change. But report it and show the value to the deputies. They're going to ask you, because I have trained dozens of them on this locally, they're going to ask you for a dollar amount for every theft that's happened. And what they're going to do is add those up in the reports, give it to my office, we'll review it, and if it goes over the $950, we're going to charge them with a felony, okay? Petty theft with priors, this is another big one. Any person who is now convicted of petty theft who has 2 or more prior theft convictions at any time in their past, and I'll put the theft convictions up there, there's a whole long list of them, but it's pretty much stealing, robbery, car theft, everything in between. They now may be arrested for a felony, okay? So we no longer are confined by having the serial thieves go out into the community and steal under that $950 threshold, and us never be able to charge them with a felony, just multiple misdemeanors. Now we can charge them with a felony, and we have and we will. There is no washout for prior convictions in either this or the drug charge, okay, that I'll be talking about in a second. In other words, a person could have a prior robbery in 2015, a prior burglary in 2020, and commit a petty theft in 2025, and we do have the ability to charge that person now with a felony. And I'll talk about how we do that and when we do that in just a second. Okay. So if John Turdy has 2 prior petty thefts and is arrested for stealing a $10 Bee Gees album from White Label right here, the sheriff will now arrest for the felony. Petty theft, you have 2 priors, and now you commit another one, they will arrest you for the felony. Now, the public and the retailers were absolutely tired of effectively no penalty for stealing. And that means the mom and pop stores all the way up to the big box places like Walmart and Target who put up money to get this proposition passed. So how do we make that charge work? We use the criminal history of the offender. We look at their rap sheet. Now, I want to emphasize this. Not every single person that we prosecute for theft is going to pick up a felony for a petty theft, okay? If I have a person that has a petty theft in 2000, let's say 2006, and another one in 2010, and now they pick up another one in 2025. Now, unless we've rejected a bunch of cases that have come in on that person for theft or that kind of special circumstance, just those three, I'm probably not going to file it as a felony, unless we have other issues with that particular actor within the community. I still have the ability to, but the ones that are really spread out like that, this isn't going to be like when I came up in the DA's office in the 90s before I got promoted. We were throwing anybody and everybody into the state prison system who had petty theft with friars. We just would. Once they reached 5 or 6, they were gone. Didn't matter where their structure was. And we all saw the prison populations explode and the costs explode for doing that, and us 3 striking people on petty theft type crimes. That's not what this is meant to do. This is meant to get the serial thieves out of the communities, period. That's what this is for, and we are being very judicious as a district attorney's office in when we prosecute these cases. But this isn't a let's lock them up, everybody, all the time. We are judicious about when we file it. I personally have filed maybe half a dozen of these since the inception of the law, and will continue to review those on a case-by-case basis. I've also had cases that come in that I have not prosecuted the felony. Because again, if they have the history spread out, we're not going to do that necessarily. Okay, petty theft law is 12022.65. If any person acts in concert with 2 other persons in the attempt or the commission of a felony of theft, now if they are as a group, we can then prosecute them and get an enhancement, an additional 1, 2, or 3 years in state prison. So the groups that would steal before, they were limited also to the petty theft, okay? But now, if they attempt to steal and they commit a vandalism in the process, and we've all seen these on television where the thieves would come in a group, smash a bunch of cases, take merchandise. They do that now modernly. I can guarantee every one of those cases is going to be more than $450. We're going to be able to charge them with a felony, not only for the vandalism, but also with this enhancement. So instead of going to prison for up to 3 years, they can actually go to prison for 6. So the idea is to really dissuade that kind of group activity, that smash and grab theft, okay? An example, John, Jane, and Jane Turdy go into Very and try to steal, let's say, $951 worth of merchandise. They're either guilty of grand theft or attempt, and not only can we send them to prison for 3 years, we can send them to prison for an additional 3 for a total of 6 for acting in concert. That's how this law works. It's a very powerful deterrent to that kind of conduct. Okay, now how can the victims, the business owners, our witnesses help make this charge work? Again, first and foremost, report it. Report it to the deputies and let them know what you saw. Let them know what the behavior of the perpetrator was. Were they working in concert, talking together, huddling up? Let the deputies know so that we can make that charge. I'm going to switch over to drug laws now. Health and Safety Code 11370.4. Big change to drug sales. Once upon a time, when people were selling drugs, we would send them to county prison, not to state prison, not to big boy prison, county prison. Here's why that was an issue. County prison meant county jail. And with the pretrial offenders that were held there, there's only so many beds. So somebody sentenced to a drug charge and somebody waiting trial on a murder, they're going to hang on to the cell for the murderer. They're not going to let this person or have room for this person to serve their full sentence in county jail. But now, with this change in the law, those sentences will be served in state prison where there is room. And it makes, excuse me, it makes weight of substances that people are trying to sell very, very important, especially in fentanyl cases. And here's how important. If a person possesses 28.5 grams or more of any fentanyl-containing substance, we can add an additional 3 years, all the way up to 25 years in state prison. The laws of the state of California have finally, thankfully, gotten really, really tough on fentanyl. I don't have to explain here how dangerous it is. Everyone knows it's awful. And one of the problems is we continue to see it as a cutting agent to increase volume in substances that the users are buying thinking it's not fentanyl, but it actually is. That's why these laws are important. We also now have a great bodily injury enhancement that we can add on to the drug dealer. If a person sells narcotics to a user and that person goes comatose, if they go unconscious, we can actually not only charge them with the sale, we can also charge them with an enhancement for causing great bodily injury to that person as a victim. Okay? Adds 3 years in state prison, and it's also a strike under California's 3-strike law. Here's another offense that is new now in California. If there is a simple possession, and if the offender has drug priors, we can now charge them with a felony. If a person has two or more convictions of either felony or misdemeanor, of simple possession or sales of narcotics, we can now charge them with a felony. It doesn't matter whether or not the priors happened today, yesterday, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. We can go back in time. If that person has priors, we can now charge them with a felony. But how do the deputies make this charge work? Again, they're going to check the rap sheet, and if the person has the priors, they are going to note that in their report, and that's what they've been doing, and we've been filing these cases. But I want to be very, very clear about 11395. It is a treatment mandated charge. Again, this wasn't rolled out by the California District Attorneys Association as a let's slam dunk everybody into state prison. This is actually very, very important. If somebody is a user and they want to get back into mainstream society, frankly, that's where I want them. I want them back. I want them to become good tax-paying citizens because that's the only other path for them, okay? How it works is the defendant makes the election. They make the choice. They can choose treatment instead of jail or prison. They plead guilty. We delay sentencing. They agree to participate in and complete a detailed treatment program that's approved by addiction expert and the court. We already have a really good, very strong, very robust program for drug court and treatment courts here in the Morongo Basin at the Joshua Tree Courthouse, and that's what we're using now. Now, that detailed treatment program isn't just to get them off dope. The idea is it's going to be something that not only treats the addiction, but also trains them for jobs, gets them ready to, again, enter mainstream society, okay? Now, if they follow the program, and we have a pretty good success with it here, if they follow the program, this is what they get. The case is completely dismissed, expunged from their record as if it never even happened. It's one of the most powerful things we can do now for somebody right in a single case from start to finish. They get arrested, they go to jail, dry out a little bit, they want treatment, we get them into treatment court, we get them trained up for a job, we get them back into society as opposed to run around on the street. Now, the other path for them, of course, is if they don't go along with the program, if they don't participate, if they just flake out with it, which we're going to have, if they take that path, then we're going to remove them from society. They will have already pled guilty, and they are eligible to go to prison for up to 3 years. Is that my first choice? No. Like I said, I'd rather have them join mainstream society as a taxpayer. But if they don't want to do it, then we have another door. That pretty much concludes the summary of Prop 36, and I'll throw it open to questions if the council has any. This is your time.
Did that, how did that affect juvenile? Did this law also go down to the juvenile level under 18?
No, this is for adult offenders.
Yep. No, go ahead.
I have two questions. First of all, thank you for your presentation. Second of all, when the offenders go to drug court under 11395A, who's paying for the treatment?
That's actually taxpayer funded. That's
Okay.
free. They don't, like, we don't charge them or send
So
them
they
a-
wouldn't say, oh, sorry, I don't have a good insurance or my insurance won't cover this. The option is there if you want it and it's covered.
It's free.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is something that the government pays for, frankly. It goes through the courts and through the county, and that's how it's funded. Now, if the person has their own health insurance, let's say it's that kind of scenario where they're a user but they have a job and they have insurance, they can go through their own program too. That's something that, again, the treatment team looks at and they can go through it, but it's free. It's not something that we, bill them for.
There's some barriers to it. Awesome. Thank
Yes.
you, sir.
I just had a question in reference to, you said that they need to report it, but when they're reporting it, does that include like giving a description or?
Well, anytime somebody reports a crime, ideally what we'd like to have, of course, is a description of the perpetrator. If they have video or still photos or anything like that, whether it's of the subject or the participants or of a vehicle even, anything like that, that's what we would want them to provide to the sheriffs. Yes, their observations, what was stolen, and frankly, who did it. Now, the sheriff, obviously, they have investigations that they conduct, and they can kind of narrow it down to who's doing what. But we do tend to see a lot of the same folks, unfortunately, and we have in the past. And the idea is now we've got these bigger, more powerful tools, we can, address those problems. But yes, we would want as much information as we can get from the victim of the crime so that the sheriff can successfully investigate it, and then I can successfully prosecute it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone from public? Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to just clarify, thank you, Councilmember Vince, for asking about juveniles. That applies to both the petty theft, felony, and the drug trafficking.
All of this. Correct.
And what about for mentally ill? Is there anything in place because they're more prone to petty theft and drug use as well, possibly, but
Sure.
in place for the mentally ill?
Sure, absolutely. We have a second treatment court here at the Joshua Tree Courthouse, and it's the mental health court. And if a person has those kinds of challenges in their life, it's not exclusive and restricted to, no, you're going into drug court. Because we do see a lot of that with mental health issues. Folks self-medicate, and then they get on drugs, and they're not really taking real good care of themselves, and they start stealing and doing other things that they normally, ideally wouldn't do. So we do have a mental health court that we can get them into that program. And the treatment program, whether it's a drug offense or a non-drug offense, a theft offense, for either one of those, they can go into the treatment courts. So we have both.
And since we're on this topic, I think trained deputy sheriffs, are they also trained to handle mental health cases? What do you have in law based?
Sure. I'd probably want to defer that to the sheriff's department to let them give you exactly what they have in training. I know myself, I've been through some of the classes that they put on for that, and frankly, it's pretty intense. I mean, they do a pretty good job with it, at least the ones I've attended and seen. So I believe they do have training, but I would much rather let the sheriff answer that specific question.
Nobody else? All right. Oh, go ahead.
You were saying that if they followed the procedures correctly, they would have the offense expunged. So they follow the procedures and they have it expunged, and then do they start over again if they have another drug or another petty theft or that kind of thing? So they have to have 2 or 3 in order to become a felony, and then they go back through that loop again?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see some recidivism in this, because we do have folks that'll go through drug court, for instance, more than once. Ideally, the program takes and it sticks, and they get back into mainstream if they can. Now, if that person is arrested for another drug offense in the future, there are priors that existed before the first go through on the treatment. Those priors still exist. Those priors haven't gone away. So we would still have those available, and we'd say, okay, well, yeah, and it's up to a judge always whether they have folks in. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely would.
I would like to speak real quick that Prop 36 is a wonderful program. This is the second reiteration of it because it was around back in the 2000s. And I'm a graduate of the 2000 Prop 36 program.
Oh, good for you. Excellent.
I graduated in 2006. I went through the treatment program. I went through the court mandated and all the classes, and it is a good program. I'm sitting here now with 19 years clean and sober, so I'm really glad.
Congratulations. Good. Yeah.
Mental health was not a
It will. We're absolutely able to roll out the resources in a much more effective way, and I'm very, very happy with it. Thank you.
City Manager, you have a question?
So I think that we're actually going to have Captain Warwick come on in, and he is going to respond to your question in regards to what type of training the deputies have received at SPSO in terms of the tools, the understanding on how to respond to an individual in a mental health crisis. Is that more or less accurate?
Thank you, yes.
You bet.
And thank you for repeating the question. Outside, I could only hear the answer since this is through a speaker in the lobby. But all of our deputies now go through crisis intervention training. In fact, back in 1999, when I went through the academy, it wasn't a thing. They've lengthened our academy a couple of weeks, and every single deputy sheriff goes through crisis intervention training. And that's not just taught by our folks. We bring in people from the medical field, subject matter experts in mental health, and every deputy sheriff goes through it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. I
You
did.
got one more?
So actually, District Attorney Poston had a couple of questions for you. So one, if a individual breaks into a store and let's say they do $1,000 worth of damage and they steal a $50 item, so what's going to be reported to the? What would you take a look at? Would you look at just what was taken, the $50, or would you take a look at the $1,000 of damage plus the $50?
Both. In that circumstance, what we would do is we would look at that $1,000 worth of damage as a felony vandalism.
Okay.
Now, if that person has prior petty thefts in the fact pattern, then that person could be charged with a felony for not only the theft, but also the vandalism. So we could charge them with felony for both.
Okay, great. And then one of the things that you and I had talked about, and that was really the effectiveness of Proposition 36 is dependent upon the businesses and even residents who have a package stolen off their front porch reporting it and providing that description, that comprehensive description. Is that right?
It is. And a lot of folks, and I know Councilman, I think it's Mr. Wright, I believe, mentioned, what do we want to see? Well, if you've got a Ring camera, if you've got any kind of information like that, this isn't just for businesses. This is exactly for that. It's for any kind of petty theft. Mail theft, the so-called porch pirates that steal the packages, all of those things, absolutely, yeah. Those kinds of persons, frankly, tend to do it more often than not, and roll around a neighborhood and they'll grab everything they can. So we definitely would like to have that kind of reporting done by the public, absolutely.
Okay, very good, sir. Yeah, in speaking with the business community, there was a lot of frustration, and I think you even mentioned it, where for so long a crime was not punished. And so really almost a crime wasn't a crime. And so now it really seems like if you commit a crime, there is now a punishment attached to that.
Right, and I'm hoping to reach out to, or hoping some of this gets out, and that's why I'm very appreciative of being here. I'm hoping some of this gets out to the retailers because they actually had policies in place, don't report it, because nothing's going to happen. That's changed. Something is going to happen, but we need the report because believe me, we'll take care of it when we get them.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you. That's all
Yep,
my questions.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me for the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for your time. I had like 5 questions, but your slideshow answered all of them, so.
The first one was
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm available anytime to reach out.
And thank you for all your years of dedicated service to the community, too. We appreciate that.
Very welcome. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. All right, number 2, presentation of report from Holiday Art, did I say it's Fieri? Faire? Miss Cathy? Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. Charles McHenry, our president of the Art Guild Board of Directors, is unable to make it, so I am the vice president, Cathy Snodgrass, and stepping in his place. Our holiday market event was held on 30 November last fall at the 29 Palms Art Gallery and was attended by approximately 400 people, which is a little bit lower than past events, but that seems to be the trend this year for all events, no matter where they are. It's been a 2024 has been a very rough year in regard to this. The event was advertised on local radio and in the newspaper, as well as having new signage made to advertise the event. Road signs were placed in well-trafficked areas, and then the wind blew them all away right before the event. This year, we were able to have a food vendor along with 2 musical acts, Lizard of Oz and Hunter in the Wicket, to help keep the guests engaged in the event and stick around. While we didn't have a formal survey of people in attendance, the feedback from those attending seemed very positive. They were all very happy. The main information was that they were really glad to be there and happy with everything that was offered. Some of the vendors, I would say mostly were newer from down below, were negative. They felt there wasn't enough notice to the public. There were complaints about it. They felt the number of sales was down. And I will say my sales particularly was normal, but sales again for 2024 for all events was down. While overall the event went well, it wasn't perfect. We are evaluating it and working on ways to make future events better for both the vendors and the general public. Any questions?
Council questions?
No questions, but I just want to thank you for putting together that fair.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Council comments, reports, and the meetings attended. Councilwoman Ramirez. Like your shirt.
Thank you.
So festive.
Trying to spread the love here. About 2 weeks ago, I attended the Cal City's new mayor and new city council member conference. So much information packed into like 3 days. At one point, I was like, I don't even remember. Is this that? Had to refer to my notes a couple of times. But definitely very informative. There was a lot that I think could come help our city. We met with the Mountain Division coordinators, and they did say that, historically 29 Palms doesn't have that much of a strong presence, and they gave us their calendar of events, and so we'll be participating in that and making sure that everybody has that. So if we do want to participate, we can go. I also participated in the headquarters battalion Chick-fil-A fundraiser. You know why you're laughing. I saw Council Member Wright checking his mail, and I was out there hustling these sandwiches because we are not going to have expensive ball tickets. So I rolled down my window and I said, I heard the best council members like Chick-fil-A. He said, no, thank you. But just know, I think they sold about a little over $2,700 worth of Chick-fil-A. So that was good. And then I wanted to address something. I know that I'm newer to the council, but I have gotten a large amount of emails, requests for comment from various news outlets and people representing the news outlets, questioning me about the specifics on Molding Hearts. And so, Dr. James, I'm hoping, before I respond, I wanted to first acknowledge that I did get them, but before I respond, I want to make sure that I'm also making informed decisions and informed comments on this. So I was hoping that I could get a copy of all of their information, as well as any other housing provider that we've worked with in the past.
Yes, ma'am. I can work on that.
Thank you.
You're complete? Ms. Ramirez, you did? Okay. Council Member Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor and myself actually hosted Senator Ochoa Bowe at our senior center. She had an opportunity to speak with leaders of the community as well as our senior citizens, and it was a very moving meeting. And she's wanting to have more of a deeper presence here in the city of 29 Palms. And I'm also having an event on the 18th at Winging It. It's a speaking and engagement event in the hopes of creating a Toastmasters in the city of 29 Palms. So it'll be at 6 p.m. On Tuesday the 18th at Winging It. So if you want to join, I know I can use a little bit more experience in public speaking, so come out and have some fun. Thank you.
Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I was laughing because until Desert Mountain Division send you to Mammoth where it snows and bears are running around. Yeah. But anyway, I didn't really attend any events, Mr. Mayor. So we're good. All right.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Mintz.
Thank you. I went to my first SBTCA meeting in San Bernardino. It's all the cities from San Bernardino County plus the supervisors. We talked about, we had a workshop on Measure I. They want to extend it, possibly make it larger. I'll have way more information later because that was just a workshop just to talk about it. But a lot of good stuff's going on. So hopefully I'll have more information than on after the next meeting. That's really all I did this time.
All right. First, I want to say happy Valentine's Day on Friday for all you lovebirds out there. I will be eating pizza by myself, but that's cool. All right. I attended the youth council meeting. It's the first one I attended. They run their meetings just like ours, probably more their business is more special to them than how we do it, and they're all laughing, having a good time. So we could take some lessons learned on how they run their meetings because it's really professional and smiling and productive. So that was a good time seeing them in their business doing what they got to do. Also had a meet, like Councilman Wright, Scott said, met with Senator Ochoa. She just took over this district, so she wants to get to know this district and this area. So that was moving and inviting, and we have more things on the table coming our way. I had the fortunate opportunity to kick off JT 55 about 06 in the morning. It was very cold, and I just can't get around people want to ride their bikes 55 miles in that cold weather, but they did it, so I appreciate them. Also had a meeting with citizens, and this afternoon we had another meeting with the potential footsteps of possibly a community garden. So we have some interested people going on. Their ears are up and their shovels are ready, so we just got to make sure we do it right. So that's coming to a theater near you, hopefully, up here eventually. And that's all I have. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just want to add to that this idea of this community garden, it came out of that meeting with Senator Ochoa, and she's very much interested in funding some of this. So we're happy to have her as our senator.
So Councilmember Klink is not here because he's gone, of course, but he'd like to sing happy birthday. So his replacement wanted to make sure this happens. Councilmember Ramirez?
Councilman Scott just had a birthday. So if you guys will all be so kind as to join me in singing happy birthday to him. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Octavius. Happy birthday to you. Mr. Klink, if you're listening, we need you back to sing songs. All right, just to let you know right now.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, everyone, especially Councilwoman Ramirez. I think you found your job. So.
All right, moving on. Consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the City Council action. Up here, anybody pull? Nope. Public? Everyone's good. Back up here for a motion.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz?
Aye.
Mayor Buildering?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
No items removed. Public hearing none. Discussion of potential action items. Number 8, Planning Commission appointments. I will turn them over to the subcommittee.
The subcommittee that's gonna do it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. So for
Oh, I was,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The subcommittee for Planning Commission selections, myself and Councilwoman Ramirez, we had interviews with approximately 6 people, and we decided to go ahead and reappoint Commissioner Crusat as well as Commissioner Pahana. And that is our recommendation to the council.
All right, before we do a motion, I did receive an email from Carlos Blandon and not in favor of your recommendations, for the record. That's all I have now. We have a motion?
No.
We have more? Oh.
You have-
Boom. Oh, he's here.
Yeah, you need to talk to them first.
Yes, I wish to publicly vouch my words out loud.
Okay. I thought you said the email because you weren't going to be present. Okay.
Pleasure meeting my public elected officials in my city.
Sir, would you please state your name?
My name is Carlos Blandon, resident of the city, and glad to meet my publicly officials in the city. Oh, forgot my notes over here. Sorry. So, for agenda number 8, Planning Commission selection. Hello and good day, public servants. It was not a difficult decision from this subcommittee to reach a recommendation, as you've been hiring the same people since 2017, which is highly suspicious and irregular. For over 8 years, no worthy candidate has appeared. Municipal Code, Article 1, Chapter 1902, 100B1, the Planning Commission shall represent different segments of the community. The City Council shall declare vacant such person position in the Planning Commission and shall nominate another eligible person to the expired term. It is very irregular that this local municipality would instead not choose a person that was born and raised in these desert sands, who spend their education and their career mastering regional planning and metropolitan planning. Instead, we keep choosing the same outside industry to manage our planning and progress of the city, as said in Article 1, Chapter 1902, 100G. Council members, my recommendation for the position is the following. To choose the alternatives, not those brought forth by the subcommittee. With alternative options, 1, my personal experience in the application submission was from lost application, false direction from staff members, city clerk, by saying there's only a specific time limit when the application can be submitted at City Hall. Within a particular date or time limit, however, your website significantly states it invites all submissions at any date or time. Plus, the fact that advertising was done during the most crucial holiday season gave the lack of applicant awareness opportunity to give a big pool of applicants. This runaround shows that the reaching for a wider applicant pool is a waste of breath, as this subcommittee makes all decisions pre-decisional. Alternative option 2 will be the best option, is the only option to choose the capabilities of this body of government in the best interest of the public good. Before you make an official decision that is arbitrary and capricious and leads to appealable action, please consider the facts as you make your decision. If possible, recommend setting the term limits and stop using the municipal code, Chapter 1902, 100B3, as a form of collusion when hiring friends and special interests. All other municipalities set term limits to avoid saturation of power and taking essential government roles by special interests. And that is my time.
All right, thank you. Back up. That's it. That's it from the public. All right, back up here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make a few corrections. I really do appreciate your statements, but you used the word hire. These are not hired positions. These are appointed positions. And in the last 2 years, we've appointed 2 people that have not been on the council or on the planning commission. And so I would say that our planning commission is diverse, and I stand by my recommendation.
Well, it's, over the years, I believe there were 7 applicants this time. Was there 7? We've had years when we've opened up the planning commission, we've had 1 apply. And I'm not going to speak for the city clerk, but I'm assuming when we say there's a limit, means there's a limit when you apply so that we can get it on the agenda, so that the subcommittee can review all the applications. So we can't just arbitrarily just leave the thing open. I mean, I'm not going to, like I say, Cindy, you may, if you have more comment about that, but I just know when we have the deadline, so we can get the commission interviewed, or the applicants interviewed, so we can get it on the agenda. So I'm very happy with the selection of the committee.
Oh yeah, and I just want to also state though too, they were the most qualified in this specific case, and knowing that we have 2 brand new planning commissioners, we thought it'd be great. We thought it'd be important that we kept continuity. we need some people there that have historical knowledge. And so we can't just bring in a whole new planning commission overnight, especially with all these brand new projects that are about to hit our plate. We got, I don't want to break the Brown Act, but you know the things that we've got coming up. And so it's very important that we keep these two.
Mr. Blandon, I want to thank you for expressing your concerns. I'm the newest council member here, and so when you said that these are our friends, I just wanted to put for the record, while Mr. Krushat, Commissioner Krushat, did apply for it and he was previously, I still stand by my decision to reappoint him as he was the most qualified. We just came out of a pretty tough election season and we were running against each other, and I can assure you that we are not friends, but he was picked and chosen because he is the most qualified.
No, sorry. You could put a yellow slip in. Go ahead. We'll just mark that on your paper for this one too. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I guess I just, it had come it had come across my mind before, so thank you for bringing it up. Can you please address the term limits for the Planning Commission? Thank you.
Thank you. Currently, the city does not have anything in our code that specifies a term limit for the Planning Commission, nor do we have a term limit on any of our boards, including the council.
Is that good?
Well, I guess, is that up for discussion?
Not
No.
tonight.
It's not an agenda. Okay. Okay, back up here.
Well, I'll move that we accept the recommendation from the committee to appoint Pahana and Khrushchev.
Second.
Councilmember Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz,
Aye.
Mayor Bilderine.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
All right, thank you. Number 9, temporary monthly funding for Hope Center recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor. So Mayor Pro Tem and council members, thank you for the opportunity to discuss this. So this evening is an item to really talk about and I think also to highlight the great work that the Hope Center has been doing in terms of feeding the individuals who are food insecure within our community. A lot of people know about the great work that Lori Cosgrove and her work does with the 29 Palms Food Pantry. One thing that took a little education on my part was just how many people that the Hope Center is currently serving. And so I believe we've got some pastors who are in attendance this evening, and if they would like to come up and talk a little bit about what they do and kind of share their good work, I think it'd be better coming from them from me.
They're all shy, like they don't like to get in front of people and talk.
This is their first time.
Good evening. My name is Sylvester Culliman. We're a part of the Sanctuary Church and the Hope Center. So the Hope Center, we have a program that is called Feed the Need. We collect food from Fine. Fine is a food donation place within the San Bernardino County and Riverside County. So we purchase food from them, we bring it up and distribute it to anyone who comes or shows up to receive food. We don't turn away anyone, we just have them to sign a list to acknowledge that they received something from us, and we give it to them. We also operate with the USDA food program. And so we go down to San Bernardino, pick up the food, bring it back up here, and distribute it. It's distributed every Tuesday, beginning at 5 p.m., and anyone is welcome to come to receive that.
Dr. Cullinan, how many people do you typically serve a month?
Right now, it's between 500 to 800 people per month.
And that is just 2 months a year? Is that every month? Is that 6 months a year? What does that look like?
That's the average, but we do it every week. Every Tuesday, we distribute food. Sometimes around Thanksgiving or Christmas, we may miss that Tuesday, but we provide food double for the week prior or the week after to augment that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ford. Did you want to talk about some of the things that go into the cost, some of the different components, and the fact that your organization has been funding this for how long, and how much do you typically fund per month? And so what's that cost, that load, that expense?
My name is Perry Ford. I am a resident of 29 Palms for 37 years. We have been doing this for about 14 years under our 501c3. We did it 2 years prior to that. We are spending on average about $3,000 a month because we have to pay for the truck to go down, the gas, the drivers, pay for the food. We have been doing this on our own for over the last 14 years. We never asked, but as you know, the economy is getting worse and it's costing us more, and we're just asking if we could get some benefit to help us in order to continue to help the community. So it's not a church event, it's a community event. It's held at the Sanctuary Church because there is no other place for us to do the trafficking, because if we did it at the Hope Center, they would not be able to, which is 5791 Adobe, we wouldn't be able to do the trafficking. Why we do it there is because it's easier to get the cars in 4 rows. And even tonight with the high winds, while we're here warm, my wife is out there getting dust in her face to try to make sure that the community is fed.
And Mr. Ford, I appreciate you mentioning that. That was one of the things that I believe that you had talked to me offline about, was the fact that is this only for members of your church, or is this anyone from any church, or someone who doesn't even go to church, no religious affiliation at all? Do you put limits on who you help?
No.
Okay.
We have walk-up homeless people that walk up, and so no, it has nothing to do with beliefs or anything. It's if you need food, it's there for you.
You're there, no questions asked. And I believe that you just simply asked for their name, them to sign, so that you had evidence that you had provided this individual, but there's no other qualifying information beyond that, huh?
No, and there's nothing passed out.
Okay.
And that fine, we have to get certain information because of fine, but other than that, no.
The basic accountability.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much, Bishop Ford. I was just wondering, though, would it be possible that they could do it somewhere more centrally located, if the city was to offer maybe some of our spaces available that are more towards downtown? I know a lot of our low-income families, they live in the Four Corners area of our city, and so I just want to see if that's even a possibility.
Well, I mean, right now, what would have to happen is that they would have to be, right now we have refrigerators and store in our storage sheds, so that would have to be moved to whatever location it was, and it would have to be make sure the electricity is available to run that, and we're also eating the cost of the electricity that run that. Did I say eat?
You did.
We're absorbing. Maybe I need to go to class. We're absorbing
You're
the
hungry.
cost, so it would have to be looked at expeditiously to see if it's available to do that.
Some of the other limiting factors at other locations is the food has to be staged and prepped in advance before it's disseminated to the people. So sometimes we get the food on Friday, so the food is bagged and staged and prepped, so that when they come, we're able to distribute it on that Tuesday. But refrigeration is a requirement for sure.
And then I would.
Thank you for that.
Oh, sorry.
I have a question. You say you go to find food. Is that local, or do
No,
you?
find is San Bernardino County's.
That's what I'm saying. Where do you go?
No,
It's in Indio.
it's in
Indio.
Yes.
So you drive all the way to Indio?
Yeah.
And then for the USDA, you drive where? Same place?
San Bernardino.
And you do it the same day or different days?
So it's usually the same day for the San Bernardino trip. For Indio, it's sometimes Monday, sometimes Friday.
No,
it's
that's what
every
I
week.
meant. I meant, did you do Indio and San Bernardino the same day?
Not the same day, no.
Now, I know the Feed 29 on every first Monday of the month, Fine brings a big truck up to CMC. Do you guys get food from them there? Because I take my truck and I help them transport from CMC to Feed 29. Will they do that for you also? Or is that a
So-
different program?
It's the same program, so we can pay Fine to deliver to us here in 29 Palms. But so CMC has a affiliation with them that either they pay Fine to deliver at CMC.
Oh, yeah, because they just show up there and there's like 6 other people, we're a number. I don't remember what the number is. He just starts yelling out. He brings out pallets and said which number, and then we just load it on the truck and then bring it back to 29. So
They
that's just
must pay for it to be delivered because they don't deliver it without being paid for.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't ask him that. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm very much in supportive of this. I think that food is a right, and people deserve to go to bed with their stomachs full, in my opinion. And so I'm very supportive of this. I just want to make sure that we're funding this out of the right pool of money. And so I was wondering if we would be able to pool some of the money to fund this from the showers and navigation center that kind of fell through.
I can speak to that.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So there are 2 amounts of money. One was previously approved by the city council, and I want to say that was for $32,000. That was for just the general resource center. And then there was an additional $15,000 that was allocated by the city council for the portable showers. And so you are working with that $47,000 that you could offer some portion of that or all of that. Certainly, it's the council's decision to further this program and support the Hope Center in their work.
Before we go, anyone from the public? Is there any public comments? Nope. Oh, look at that. Oh, here they come.
Leanne Clark. I just want to mention that Bishop Ford and his church have been a member of the 29 Palms Ministerial Association for over 20 years. They are, the Sanctuary Church is a pillar in our community. They celebrated their 20th anniversary as a church last year. And so they have been very much established here. And with the Feed the Need, when the Ministerial Association, we have various community events during the year, and they are one of the local nonprofit recipients in which we collect an offering and provide. So their stability here and what they're doing is not something you need to be concerned of questioning. It's very legit, and I think it's an excellent, as Councilmember Scott was saying, it's just important because of the economy and just the fact of the number of people they've represented that they are serving per month. It's pretty obvious it's going to go up, and we don't want anyone turned away. So that's just my sharing and my experience with their ministry and what they're doing in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin?
Hi, Robin Schlosser. First, I want to commend Pastor Ford because he is a pillar of the community, and they do feed a lot of people there. But one of the things that I would like to know is, because they're asking for temporary support, how long is temporary? Is it for 2 months? Is it for 6 months? Is it for a year? And then also, what are the plans of action for when this funding runs out? If the church isn't able to support it now, and I'm in support of the city giving them some funding, but we also need to look at possibly, we have several food pantries in the area. We have the Feed 29, we have Feed the Need. We also have the Alex Roth. Is there a possibility of starting to look at them and talk to them about coming together into one pantry rather than trying to support multiples? things like that to look at. So that's just my thoughts.
Thank you. Anyone else? You have your paper? Yeah, at the end. Yeah, just make sure you're at the end.
How's it going? My name is Alex Garcia. I'm one of the city planning commissioners, but I'm representing as just a community member. I volunteer at the Hope Center every so often, and I also volunteer at the Fine Food one at CMC every Tuesday on the first Tuesday of every month. The Hope Center does wonderful work. I'm not a religious person, but I myself, a while back, have had to get food from them as well. So I send a lot of community members that way quite often, and they honestly, it is a very simple process to get in and out, and they do it phenomenally. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. All right, back up here. The question that he asked, that's feasible, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Well, you're obviously looking at on the staff report their budget, but obviously if we were to do, I just did some math. If we have the budget coming up for the coming year, if we did February, March, April, May, June, that's 5 months. I'm thinking like $1,500 would be something to get them to keep. It would help out.
Was that $1,500 per month?
Per month, yes.
From
so that'd
now
be
through
like
June?
$7,500, and
Okay.
then we could look at it from a sustainable part as far as when we do actually do the budget, when we see all the numbers, because it's coming up pretty close. And instead of just, I don't know, just throwing numbers out there, we can just really discuss it. We have strategic planning coming up, where we can discuss all these options. But then that way, at least, it gives them some help between now and then. So that would be the $1,500 a month would be my recommendation.
Anyone else? Comments?
No, I think what Councilmember Mintz is making a lot of sense right now. We are going to have the budget, and we're going to be able to look at those long-term, plans or goals to assist them in the future. And so we have this immediate need now, and so we should be looking at these next 5 months before the budget. The $1,500 though, can we at least do $2,000 a month?
Jim? I can't scroll down. I can write my notes.
Yeah.
I can't scroll.
I don't feel like doing math. How much money is that? Like
So that would be
It'd be $10,000 for 5 months back.
No, I'm talking about what do we have this money we're pulling from? How much do we have in
Oh,
that?
I'm sorry, sir. That would be $47,000 if we took the $32,000 that was previously allocated, and then we took the $15,000 that was for the showers. That would be a total of $47,000.
So it'd be $10,000 if we did $2,000 a month. Till then we reassess it for the next budget.
It still leaves with 37.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'll make a motion. We allocate $2,000 a month between now and June for the Hope Center.
A second.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramirez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz?
Aye.
Mayor Bildering?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Great. Thank you very much, Council.
All right, future council initiated items. Anything new?
Yeah. What about the sound system?
Like for presenters, they're on Microsoft.
Yeah. As a sure, I can certainly look into that. I'd be happy to. And just in case nobody heard, Councilmember Wright was just asking about our sound system, and could we have a lapel mic or maybe detachable microphone, something to that effect? Did I hear that correctly? Okay. Yeah, you bet. I can work on that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a recommendation for a future initiated item to reorganize our homeless and housing committee.
Second?
And I will second that.
All right, we got a Christmas shopping, right? You got one? I got one more. All right.
I'd like to discuss a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and the City of 29 Palms.
Second.
It's the one in, yeah, they want to come this way and do things.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't say nothing bad about Yucca. We got spies. So. All right, are we good? Everyone's good on that? All right. Oh, man, all right. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There's a time limit of a whopping 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out your name and address slips and give them to the city clerk. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. Anybody? We have none? You guys are, no, this can't be true. It has to be a non-agenda item.
You can comment anything right now.
Sure.
Not agenda item. Didn't you ask the question about the mental health? That wasn't your question? All right. You have a public comment?
So we can't talk about future council initiatives?
No. Yes. Yes. Back to yours. Your question is probably for the DA that's not here? No, sorry, because it's agenda item, so this is non-agenda. No, you're trying to trick me into saying it. I got you. All right, here we go. This is the worst part anyways. You want to get this over with, yes?
May I follow up with her after the fact?
After the meeting, he will talk your ear off. I mean, he will...
talk about like chatty Cathy and all. I keep pulling my
No,
own
he'll
string.
answer your question. If not, he'll get the answer for you. So we have to think. He'll take your comment and then he'll give it to us. All right, here we go. City manager's update.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Mayor. So I have just a couple of items. I will be brief, and we'll bring up that one in just a moment. That'll be item number 2. Yeah, just one more second, but thank you, though. And so, I wanted to just acknowledge that after the floods had occurred in last year in August, the mayor and I had many meetings, and one of the things that was a key priority, an understandable priority for the mayor and the council is our city equipped to properly respond to disasters? And so I just wanted to let the council know and let the community know this is something that as a team we continue to focus on and are working on identifying what resources we need, how can we get those resources. I've been working on acquiring some training both individually and collectively for the team. So just wanted to kind of put it out there that being prepared to respond is a priority and something that we're working on. Next thing, one of the things that we are working on is our strategic planning. And what we're looking to accomplish with this strategic planning session is we are looking to look out 20 years and identify What do we want to be as a city in 20 years? What do we want to be known for? I like to say, what do we want to be when we grow up? And so really the goal of doing that exercise, of really thinking big, what is the core identity of the city? How do we help that grow? How do we focus on the best part of us, the best version of ourselves? And then ultimately, once we've identified that vision, we dial that back and we come up with 1, 3, and 5-year goals that we as city staff and as a city can work on in furtherance of achieving that mission in 15 and 20 years. And so there's been some questions from the community, hey, when are we going to have these outreach meetings? And so we had prepared, myself and the consultant that we're working with, Meg, really an excellent firm, and the community and the council will continue to get to see that. We created this kind of overview of what we are going to be looking to accomplish in the coming months. So one of the things that Meg and the city staff has been working with in conjunction with the city council is current engagement. And that is the city council interviews, and then also working on staff and stakeholder engagement. This was delayed just a little bit, unfortunately, due to the fires. Several of the MIG consultants were evacuated. I think 1 or 2 may have lost their home in the LA fires, the Pasadena fires. But thankfully, the individual I'm working with, her home was not taken. And so go through, have those interviews with the council. Those went very well. They're working on consolidating that data, coding that data. The next step is going to be the staff and stakeholder engagement. And that stakeholder engagement is really kind of vital. When we take a look at our city, well, yes, we may have a smaller city, 29,000, approximately 30,000 people. There's really a diverse array of stakeholder groups. Those stakeholder groups could be the Marine Corps. It could be the Ministerial Association and the folks that are associated generally with that. It could be the TBID. It could be the National Park. It could be MEUSD. And so that's one of the things that we're working on, is really identifying those stakeholders who should have a seat at the table and be a part of those discussions. The goal is to have a city council priority setting workshop. And we are going to look to identify a time that will work with the majority of people's schedule in March and April. And that will really be that time for the council to communicate their vision, right? And it's not only what that individual council member believes, but really they're that voice for their district. And so that'll be that opportunity for the council to communicate, hey, where do we see, and also get the feedback from the community, get the feedback from the stakeholder group. Of course, city staff will be supporting that. City staff will be providing the council and the community their perspective, because I think that having that perspective, having that grounding is going to be vital as the council and the community set those priorities. Ultimately, we're going to move into, ideally in May, is planned development. And that is going to be something that's likely going to be falling on the city manager's shoulders. And so that's how do we produce that document that we can refer to on a weekly basis, on a certainly bi-weekly basis, to really identify, to guide the work that we do as a city staff. And that's kind of the beauty of it is once you have that vision down and you've got it broken down into the goals and you've got it time bound, that helps the staff maybe change the orientation of departments. Certainly, how do you allocate a budget? And then ultimately, the goal then is the final city council presentation, adoption, and then implementation in June. So I just wanted to provide that update to the community. I can move on to the next item here, and that was had an opportunity to participate in the mass casualty incident drill that occurred just yesterday within the Joshua Tree National Park. That was a pretty impressive operation. What that entailed was it contemplated a 2-bus and 3-car accident, a total of 27 patients, and that involved 7 different agencies that responded. So we had, I think, 6 or 7 ambulances. We had 3 rescue helicopters, and then I want to say 3 or 4 different fire departments. And so that was just an excellent opportunity to see the professionals that serve our community come together and really effectively treat those patients that were hurt, from some very severe to minor injuries. And then there was one other thing that I am working on behalf of the city council, and that is, and thanks to the great communication that Robin Schlosinger has had with my team in terms of communicating the needs of the senior center, we've identified some things within the senior center that needs to be addressed, both inside and outside. And so we are working right now on engaging the professionals that are going to be necessary in order to solve those problems. But I did just want to give a quick shout out to Robin for just her persistence and her follow-up in elevating those concerns to us. So that's all that I have.
You all right? That last Sunday. All right, we all good? We good up here? You guys ready to go home? Yeah. All right, well, happy birthday to all those in February. Happy Valentine's Day. 29 Palms, continue to respect each other and celebrate our differences. So I adjourn this meeting.